Assalamualaikum. Good morning, class.
Waalaikumsalam. Good
Waalaikumsalam
morning.
warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, Miss.
How are you today?
Fine, Miss. Thank you. How are you?
I'm fine too. Thank you. So, before we start, let's pray together. Please, one of you can lead the prayer.
Me.
Please, Vida.
Okay. Before we start our lesson today, let's we pray together. Pray begin. Pray finish.
Thank you, Vida. Is there anybody absent today?
Nobody, Miss.
Okay, good. So today we are going to study about the equations and inequalities of absolute value, linear form, one variable. Previously, you have learned about the one variable linear equation. So today we will use that kind of equation too. So in today's material is important in our everyday life because we calculate the maximum and minimum of the length of the bridge, and then the maximum and then the minimum of age of the airplane when deviating, and etc. Now I would like to share screen the PPT of today's class. Okay, so can you see the slide?
Yes, Miss.
Okay. Today's material is about the equations and inequalities of absolute value linear form one variable. The learning objective of this today's meeting, the first one is identify the definition of the absolute value correctly. And then number two is identify the concept of the absolute value equation of the linear form of one variable correctly. And the last is make a mathematical model of the problem related to the equation of the absolute value of the linear form one variable correctly. The first one is absolute value. Could anybody help me to read this problem, please?
Me, Miss.
Okay, please, Ila.
Okay. A child playing skipping in the field. From a stationary position, the child jumps 2 steps forward, then 3 steps back, then 2 steps forward, then 1 step back, and finally 1 step back.
Thank you, Ila. So we can illustrate this problem with mathematically. So we define the forward jump in the direction of the positive x-axis, thus the jump back is in the direction of the negative x-axis. We can look at the following sketch. So from the sketch, we suppose that x is 0 is the stationary position of the child. And then the first arrow above the number line indicates the child's first step, 2 steps forward. And then the second arrow shows the child 3 steps back. And from the end position of the first step. And so on until finally the child stops at the 5th step. So we can see that the child's final movement for the initial position is just 1 step back. That is x equals to -1 or x equals to positive +2 plus -3 plus +2 plus -1 plus -1 equals to -1. But the number of the steps that child goes through in an absolute value concept, that is, we are counting the number of the steps, not the direction. So the number of the steps is absolute value of 2 plus absolute value of -3 plus absolute value of 2 plus absolute value of -1 plus absolute value of -1, and that's equals to 9. So we can conclude that the child have 9 steps. The next is the definition of the absolute value. Let x be a real number. The absolute value of x can be read as the absolute value of x and defined as the absolute value of x is equals to x if x less than or equal to, if x greater than or equals to 0, and negative x if x less than 0. The next is absolute value equation linear form of one variable. The properties of absolute value. The properties of the equation of the absolute value of the linear equation of linear form of one variable. So for every a, b, c, and x a real number with a is not equal to 0, 1. If the absolute value of ax plus b equals to c, with c greater than or equal to 0, then one of the following properties hold. The first property is the absolute value of ax plus b equals to c for x greater than or equal to negative b over a, and minus ax plus b equals to c for x less than negative b over a. And the second is if absolute value of ax plus b equals to c with c less than 0, then there is no real number x that satisfies the equation of absolute value of ax plus b equals to c. And then the next is the properties of the absolute value involving the linear absolute value equation in one variable. The first one is absolute value of x equals to the square root of x squared. And then the next is the absolute value of a times b equals to the absolute value of a times the absolute value of b. And the last one is the absolute value of a over b equals to the absolute value of a over the absolute value of b, where b is not equals to 0. The next is the problem. Determine the value of x if any that satisfy each of the following equation. The equation is the absolute value of 2x minus 1 equals to 7. Based on the previous definition, we have that the absolute value of 2x minus 1 equals to 2x minus 1 if x greater than or equal to a half, and minus 2x minus 1 if x less than a half. So for the first, that is x greater than or equal to a half, that is 2x minus 1 equals to 7, and we have x equal to 4. And the next is for x less than a half, we have that minus 2x minus 1 equals to 7 becomes minus 2x plus 1 equals to 7, and we have x equals to negative 3. So the value x equals to 4 or x equals to negative 3 satisfies the absolute value equation 2x minus 1 equals to 7. For the next problem, please anybody can help me to read this problem, please.
Miss.
Yes, please, Vida.
Okay. In the rainy season some time ago, there has been an increase in water discharge in a river. The normal threshold for water discharge in the river is around 400 meter cubic per second. As a reference for determining the flood alert status in the river, determine the function of the absolute value of increasing and decreasing the water discharge with change in liters per second.
Okay, thank you, Vida. So from the problem that has been read by Vida, we can assume x as what? Anybody can answer it?
Miss,
Yes,
we
please.
can assume X as river water discharge, Miss.
Okay, great, Laili. And the solution is as Laili said, x is equal to river water discharge And we have the normal threshold for water discharge is 400 meter cubic over second. And the answer is the function of x equals to y equals to the absolute value of x minus 400, sorry. And I will send the student worksheet in the chat, so please download it. And I already divide you in some groups, and then each group can do all the activities in the student worksheet. And also I will give you 45 minutes to do the discussion and join the breakout room. And after that, you can back to this main room Zoom. Okay, students, the discussion time is over. Does anyone want to present the discussion result of the group?
Group 1 want to present, Miss.
Please, Laili.
Okay, can you see my screen, Miss?
Yes, Laili.
Okay, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
So we are from group 1 with the member of group 1 is Milaili, Fania, Alex, and Nando will present the student worksheets. That's all from our group. Thank you for your attention. Wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you, Laili. So is there any question for group 1 presentation?
No, Miss.
Okay, great. So after the discussion and studying today's material, what do you know about the equation of absolute value linear from one variable?
Me, Miss.
Okay, please, Vida.
The absolute of a real number is not negative.
Yes.
And it is the same with the root of a number, always positive or 0. For example, x element of R, x element of real number, then square root of x squared equals to absolute value of x equals to x if x greater than or equal to 0 and negative x if x less than 0.
Okay, great, Vida. Anybody else?
Me, Miss. One variable linear equation can be obtained from an equation or a given absolute value function.
Okay, thank you, Ila. And then the last, maybe?
Hey, Miss.
Please.
The solving of the absolute value equation ax plus b is equal to c exists if c is greater than or equal to 0.
Okay, thank you, Vida, Ila, and Laili. It's all correct. So is there any question for today's material to discuss?
No, Miss.
No, Miss.
Okay. So for the next meeting, we will learn about the inequalities of absolute value linear from one for one variable. So I have uploaded a quiz in the LMS. Please do it before 8 p.m. today for all the students. And then,
Yes.
okay, so that's all for today. Before we end today's learning, please one of you can lead us to pray together.
Okay, Miss. Before we end this lesson, let's we pray together. Pray begin. Finish.
Okay, thank you, Vida. So thank you, students, for all the attention. See you in the next meeting, and wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you,
See you,
Miss.
Miss. Thank you, Miss.